want to thank you for joining us here on Polk Place. I'm Brian Lacey, and this maybe a few years back when we first started our YouTube channel, we did an interview with Bikers Against Child Abuse, BACA, and it got crazy reviews, and it went all over the world. I can't even remember the numbers and how it's doing. It's still one of our top 5 in what people have seen. But folks that with Bikers Against Child Abuse have said, hey, can we come back in and join you? Because we talk a little bit about what we're doing, what we're trying to do, and what we'd like to do. And, well, I can't turn these guys down because I see them out on the road all the time. Bikers Against Child Abuse, he is the State Public Relations Officer, Bikers Against Child Abuse. His name is Bad Bob. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And then also Olaf, the state president from Bikers Against Child Abuse. I want to thank you for coming in.
It's our pleasure, sir.
So, Olaf, talk to me a little bit about Bikers Against Child Abuse. How did it start?
It actually started 30 years ago. 30 years ago, a registered child play therapist in Provo, Utah, had a client, young child, that had been abused, and he was the therapist for the child. He was totally unsuccessful in seeming to get through to the child, to make any progress with the child. But he happened to notice that whenever the child was in his office, he was a biker, and like most bikers' offices, it had a lot of paraphernalia around that the child showed a very extreme interest in. So somehow he come up with the idea. He says, I'm going to go visit this child on the bike to see if I can get a reaction. And he and a couple of his friends did that. He saw a very positive result from it and continued improvement while he was empowering this child. That gave him the germ of the idea to start an organization that did that, like I said, 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And in 30 years, we're in 45 countries, Bob? 45 states?
45 states.
45 states.
20 countries.
20 countries, 7 provinces.
7 provinces. Across Canada.
Yeah.
Across Canada.
And that's around the world.
Even Iceland.
Even Iceland.
Chapter in Iceland. Costa Rica.
Yep.
Man, all over.
I want to ride with those cats up in Iceland.
I've been there once.
And that was the germ of the idea. We started this in Florida 25 years ago, down in Orlando, the mother chapter. Built the organization here to 3 chapters, which is what happened where we were when Bob came and did the last interview here. We are now just started the 10th chapter in the state, and unfortunately, part of that is because of the need. Mm-hmm. But luckily, we have people in this state that are willing to give of their time and their heart and their passion to help empower these children when they have no one else to help them.
Yeah, I was part of the original video, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'd ask people, please share this across your network. It helps us get kids and some visibility, helps Polk County get some great visibility, and put comments in there. We reply to them all, but don't talk about how much older I look from 12 years ago. I get enough of that.
And listen, I'm going to say that had to go back, what, 2006, 2008?
Whatever 12 years is.
No, I thought it was maybe further than that.
Well, no, I joined BACA in 2009, so it must have been 2012, something like that we did that. But again, we're worldwide now, and we've really grown, and we continue to grow. The last time I did the video, the stats have changed a little bit. Today, currently, 1 in 3 girls are sexually abused by the time they're 18. 1 in 5 boys are sexually abused. So people ask me, is the problem getting worse? I don't know if the problem's getting worse, but I just know with the internet and things like that, kids are more susceptible to being lured into bad places. And so keep an eye on your kids. We always say, when mom and dad tells you to be home at 9 o'clock, it's because they love you, right? And we get children referred to us not only by parents who have heard about us by watching a video like this, but different agencies as well, like DCF.
I want to talk about the community partners, because this is how well respected of an organization you guys. We have community partners run by the state. We have law enforcement that supports you. Talk about some of those community partners, and then of course we're going to do a shout out too to one of our community partners. Saying we may need his help.
The world famous.
But talk about some of those community partners, and let's talk about recruiting too.
Well, definitely DCF is we work with them closely. In fact, I was recently a speaker at their DCF summit in Orlando. It's a statewide summit. And I throw out there that I will speak to any agency, any group of people that may have an interest in helping abused children. But they refer them to us, right? And the number that will be, I think it's going to be up on the screen at some point. The Tri-County chapter out of Orlando covers this area right now. Their phone number is 407-227-2134, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be up on the screen later. But we get the referral. We go through an intake process. Our intake specialist is called a child liaison. Any number of agencies, Fostering Florida. I've gone in, I've talked to foster parents, and we've got children referred there. The state's attorney's office, their investigators have referred children to us. Different sheriffs, the investigators have referred cases to us as well. And, we find that by and large, the majority of kids love motorcycles, right? And I tell the story a lot of time about pulling up to a red light, and you're sitting there and you look at the car next to you, and there's a bunch of kids plastered against the window, and mom won't look at me. She's like this.
But the kids are.
The kids are, right? And I'll yell at them, "You got your seatbelts on?" And they run back, they put their seatbelts on. Mom still won't look at me, but she'll go like that. The kids love working with us. And we go through the intake process. It's important that we allow all children to make decisions. Do they want to work with us? We give them a road name. We let them choose the road name is what we do. We might say, what do you want to be called? Because we all have road names. Oh, I'm Bad Bob, this is Olaf. What do you want to be? Do they want to go ride on a motorcycle? That's what we do. We let them make those decisions. When we go to court, how many of us do you want to have there? I've been to court with 5 people. I've been to court with 250 of us that rode in from 26 states to go to court with that child. We assign 2 primaries to work with them, and they start that process of getting to know the child. Now, we're not therapists. We don't replace the therapist. We're an additional resource to work with the kids. None of our members, except for that intake specialist, even know what happened to the child. We don't need to know. We just need to know that they need our help. There's enough people already talking to them about what happened. It doesn't need to be us. And the 2 people we assign who are members will go to that house, visit them every couple weeks, and start getting them, back into the real world. We show them a lot of love. We play games with them. We give them the courage. And we like to say that we empower them not to be afraid of the world in which they've lived. And I've had adults come up to me 35, 40 years old and thank me for what we did to help them 35, 30 years ago. And that's what we do. So we encourage agencies to get to know us, understand how we work. We don't replace any of them, right? We're just that, like I said, that additional resource to help them out.
You had mentioned as little as 5 and as many as 250. There are sometimes that these children have to go tell a story within court that they don't want to tell.
That's right.
And they have to face their accuser. And when it's isolation, what got them in that situation to begin with, when you guys stand behind them, talk about the courage that you give them and the strength that you give them to tell their story, to make sure that it doesn't happen to another child.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. We don't coach them what to say. We never coach them what to say. If they do ask us, we'll just say the truth, tell the truth. But we're going to be there for you. We go into the courtroom with them and we sit there. And many times, friends and family are subpoenaed by defense lawyers so they can't be in the courtroom. And they try to isolate that child by themselves in the courtroom, which is sort of a natural intimidation to make them afraid to testify. But we go in with them. And like I said, if they want 5 people, 3 people, that's what we'll send in. If they want a courtroom full of us, that's what we send in. We ask them, what do you want? And you know, some of them are pretty shy about it, and some of us, you know, I mentioned in a video once before, we're like big teddy bears to them. You know, they feel safe around us, and that's the whole thing. Is we say once a BACA child, always a BACA child, and BACA will always be here for you. You just, you know, you got our phone number, we come and visit and all that kind of stuff. And on a national average, only 30% of children will testify when asked to. With BACA, it's running about 70%. And as far as I know, in the state of Florida, we've had 100% of the children will testify, because we get them feeling good about themselves. And their defining moment is when they've told their story. And you'll see when they get off that witness stand, many of them are bouncing down the aisle. They get into the lobby of the courtroom. They're all smiles because they got that burden off their chest. And they can move on with their life. That's what we do.
Yeah, I love the story about when, especially, I pull up, the only 2 people that relate to me when I pull up next to them on the bike, usually children will wave at me, ask me, you know, one way or another, rev up the bike, or a dog will stick his head out the window. Because me and the dog know what's going on in the wind.
You obviously ride a bike. You know, we talked about that earlier. So, and we joke about you'll never see a motorcycle in front of a psychiatrist's office. You know.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of them at the VA hospital.
No, they make us park behind.
Oh, I know. Exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, we know that within the chapter, when we first started off, we knew that we had 3 in the state of Florida. Now we're going to 10, and we're opening up one not too far down the road. Talk to me a little bit about that.
We are just expanding to, we call it a branch chapter. We're taking existing members from a chapter that live in that area that doesn't have a chapter, and starting a brand new chapter with those individuals. So they're all seasoned already. It's an expedited process through the organization to get that done. It's down in the Fort Pierce area. So they will be covering from just north of Palm Beach, West Palm, up to just about Melbourne, I think it is, and west to the lake. So we're as terrible as it is that we need to do this, we're trying to cover as much of the state as we can. With the help and the resources that these kids need. As Bob and you both mentioned earlier, this is an area that is a prime location because of the interest in motorcycling.
More registered motorcycles per capita in Polk County than anywhere in the state of Florida.
And it's an opportunity for people in this area that may be able to become part of an organization that allows them to give back, share a piece of their heart. And that's how basically I started. It was a random video that I saw that got me interested in it. I was living in Miami and called, I'm interested, where can I go? At that time, it's 3 chapters. Nearest chapter was Orlando. So we had 6 or 7 of us, and we would ride up every weekend to Orlando, attend events, attend their meetings, whatever we needed to do, start the training for as long as it took us to get approved as a charter for a chapter and start doing our own thing. So it's an area here that would greatly benefit. It's a tool, a resource for the agencies locally, because unfortunately, let's face it, there are kids in this area that could benefit from the empowerment that we would try to provide for them. Bob and you talked a little bit about agencies. One of the things we did to try to make it easier for the agencies, because the agencies got to get the parents to sign off on it and do all this and do all that and have the parent. We had a actual referral form approved by DCF Tallahassee for statewide use, electronic soft copy, that we can distribute to any agency, any referring source, whether that's police departments, the agencies, whoever might have a child that could use it, and they send us the information and we directly contact them now, so that we can expedite the process and get in there as quick as we can. And it's, as Bob said, it's just another tool that these agencies have, and we do something that no one else can do. That empowerment, that's not what anybody else is concentrating on.
Yeah.
They're looking to heal and do this and do that. There's not much they do that will prepare a child for court. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And that's where somebody like us can come in, go in with the child, get them empowered, get them feeling strong enough to tell their story. And in all honesty, that's our success. That's what we count as a success for us. That they sat on that stand, they told their story with their head up, and walked out of there a child again.
And with the number of motorcycles that we have here in Polk County, with the number of riders, and of course with a great community partner, Sheriff Grady Judd and men and women of Polk County.
The world famous Sheriff Grady
yeah.
Judd.
Yes, that's right.
I don't care where you go in this world, you guys got several stories that, the men and women of the Polk County Sheriff's Office would be a natural, great community partner, and we hope that we can work that to the point where it becomes something. Bob, I want to talk a little bit about folks, if they expect to join us. This isn't, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is a commitment. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we quite seriously, we tell people this isn't something we do on a sunny Sunday afternoon. If a child calls us at 3 o'clock in the morning, we get on our bikes and ride. Now, there has to be some flexibility in there. People work, people have families and that. But if you're not really committed to this, it's tough to do it. It really is. It's got to be, we mentioned that we have no paid employees of BACA. We're a volunteer organization. We're a 501c3. We don't consider ourselves volunteers. This is our life. This is our life. And this is what we do. And you really have to be inspired to want to help the children because they need love. They need all the love they get, and they're attracted to motorcycles.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. So that commitment, you have to come to 2 meetings, and if you attend the 2 meetings, then we start the process. And there's it'd be 12 to 2 years, depending on which state, before you can become a member. There's training. There's about 80 hours worth of training that you have to go through. We assign a sponsor to work with you. It's a commitment. And, when it's raining, all we do is we spread out a little bit more so we don't run into each other. We don't call a kid up and say, hey, it's raining.
Can't make it because of the rain.
Yeah. So that's the kind of commitment it is.
One thing that we talked about and you had showed me, the coolest thing about this, as you said, not a paid gig, but there is a payoff in the end. What I want you to do is share just a few of those. And how cool is that? That it makes
it's cool.
Yeah. it makes the commitment worth it.
Yeah, when we visit the kids, when we assign the primaries to the kids, they go visit them every couple of weeks and again get to know them and understand, what makes them happy and things like that. And we go to visit, and it's like a celebration. They're so excited to see us. And these are some real pictures that one of the kids that I work with drew for us. BACA. Cool dog, and she already had a road name, so she really couldn't change it. But they're these what are they, Minecraft kids? So you get kind of a Minecraft look to it. That's what they do, And I've got these in my office at home.
Yeah.
When I get tired, I look at those and say, you know, what we're doing is worth every second that we do it to help these kids.
Well, gentlemen, we are out of time. I appreciate you coming in and sharing the stories and sharing everything and anything that we can do for you to help you out. Please come back and see me. It was a pleasure seeing you all again.
Well, thank you for giving us another opportunity to do that. So we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So maybe the next one we do with Sheriff Grady Judd.
Yeah, hey, listen, man, we've put it out there, and hopefully he'll see it. I know some people over there.
You know some
maybe
people?
we'll get up in front of it.
It's good to know people. Thank you.
Gentlemen, it's good to see you, all right?
Thank you so much.
You.
Bikers Against Child Abuse, or BACA, exists with the intent to create a safer environment for abused children. They work in conjunction with local and state officials who are already in place to protect children. They desire to send a clear message to all involved with the abused child that this child is a part of their organization and that they are prepared to lend their physical and emotional support to them by affiliation and their physical presence. Now, if you need more information on anything they do, check them out on Facebook at Bikers Against Child Abuse International, or look them up on the web at bacaworld.org. If you enjoyed that episode of Polk Place, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and even check out the next one.